So a few years ago, I did a bunch of videos on this Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Magnum. And this gun became one of my favorites in my collection. Shooting 22 Magnum out of a handgun is a lot of fun. And it throws some pretty awesome fireballs. Now, Smith & Wesson also made this pistol chambered in 5.7 by 28. But I chose to go with the 22 mag version for a couple different reasons. One, 22 mag is one of my favorite rounds I shot when I was a kid, and 22 mag is a little bit cheaper than 5.7 by 28. Now, Smith & Wesson quite a few years ago did make an M&P chambered in 22 long rifle, but I liked the design of the 5.7 by 28 and the 22 mag a lot better. And I thought to myself, how cool would it be if Smith & Wesson took this exact same pistol, but chambered it in 22 long rifle? And that's what we have in this box. So let's check it out. On the other bench, and we're going to get this out of the box and check it out. Now, this just comes in a cardboard box. It did not come in any kind of hard plastic case or anything like that. And when you open it up, this is what you are presented with. Now, up here at the top of the box, it does have a QR code that you can scan to register the firearm. All right, the first thing we got is our gun. It is wrapped in plastic. It's got some foam padding here on the back. Let's get this out of the bag. And here is our gun. It's got a tag on it with a rubber band around the grip. But this is the Smith & Wesson M&P 22X. We do have a mag installed in the gun. We're going to come back and talk about the magazines here in a little bit. Then we have another flap here. We'll go ahead and flip this open. And it looks like we have another mag. I'm going to set this off to the side. We've got our lock, we've got an ECI, we also have a wrench. I'm going to show you what this is for in a little bit. And I thought this was pretty cool. I don't believe they had this with the 22 Magnum when it came out, but we've got some high-vis front sights. We got a fiber optic green, a red, and a white. And it's got this cool little carrier that you keep your sights in. So if you don't like the green one that comes in this, you can take it out and change it to a different color. And in this bag, we've got a hard plastic plate that goes underneath our optic when we mount it to the slide. And we also have an adapter here if you want to run this gun suppressed. I'll show you what all this does in a little bit. And speaking of running this suppressed, it also comes with a card that tells you how to do that. And then we have the user manual. And this is a pretty thick manual. A lot of good information in here. Shows you how to put the suppressor adapter on. Shows you how to mount the optic. Pretty much got everything you need in the manual. And then we have a sticker, another sticker, and another sticker. And then we have a warning card for all those people that are unfortunate enough to live in California. And that is everything in the box. Alright, I'm going to show you that this gun is clear, no mag, nothing in the chamber. And I'm not going to dry fire this because it is chambered in 22 long rifle. But I do have some snap caps and we're going to test the trigger here in a little bit. So like I said, this is the Smith & Wesson M&P 22X. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the reason I bought it was because I am a huge fan of the M&P 22 Magnum pistol. And if you look at these two together, there's quite a few similarities. The grip texture is exactly the same. The 22 Magnum obviously has quite a bit bigger grip because 22 Magnum is quite a long round. The slides look a lot alike. You have the same serrations at the back of the slide. So I am super excited to have this. So let's get a few of the specs out of the way real quick on this. I already told you that this is chambered in 22 long rifle. The width on this is 1.13 inches. The length is 7.25 inches, and the height is 5.75 inches. And this gun is very light. It only weighs 16.32 ounces. And this gun is internal hammer fired. Now the 22X is considered a full-size pistol. I've got big 2XL hands, and I can get a full grip on this gun even without the mag in it. And this is what it looks like with the mag installed. So we're going to start at the top and just work our way down and go over some of the features on this. So I already showed you that this has a fiber optic green front sight. The rear side is just a blacked out side. It does have some serrations on it to cut down on the glare. And this pistol is optics ready, just like the 22 Magnum. You're going to remove these two screws, remove the cover plate, and you can direct mount any dot that has the RMSC footprint to this slide. And if you stay tuned till the end of the video, I'm going to show you an awesome new optic that just came in that's going to be going on this gun. And we're going to put the adapter on it, and I'm going to show you what it looks like with a couple suppressors on it. Now we're going to talk about the slide a little bit. And this is already one of my complaints because I had the same complaint with the 22 Magnum version. We have no serrations up here on the front of the slide. Now when we move to the back of the slide, we've got some really nice serrations. And they're cut in pretty deep, very grippy, and they work very well. But being that it's only chambered in 22 long rifle, it is super easy to rack the slide. Now we're going to start talking about the top of the frame. Now inside here you can see a little window, and this is where the serial number for your gun is at. And we move back here, and this is something that I really like being a left-handed shooter. This does have an ambi, slide stop, slide lock, slide release, whatever you want to call it. And this gun also comes with a manual safety. But it is an ambi safety, and one nice thing is they've actually cut into the frame, so you're not going to accidentally manipulate that safety. So if you are not a fan of the safety, it's not going to be an issue with that recessed back into the frame, and they did that on both sides. Now we move to this side, and you have your takedown lever, and this is something different that the 22 Magnum did not have. Now taking this gun apart is pretty easy. What you're going to do is you're going to move the slide back, engage your slide stop. You're going to take the takedown lever, flip it down just like that. And now you're going to pull back on the slide again, and you're going to lift up, and you're going to let it go forward, and it will slide right off. Now you're going to tip your frame forward, and there's your guide rod and spring. It is all captured, which is super cool. Now that I've got this apart, I just saw this, but boy, did they really lube this gun up. Now, if you notice, the barrel on this is a fixed barrel, and the barrel length on this is 4.1 inches. And now we'll talk a little bit about that tool that comes with it. You actually have a wrench flat right here and right here, and this will slip right into those flats. And I cannot show you how to take this off on YouTube, but the very first time you go to take this off, it is hard to get to break loose. So don't worry, you're not going to break anything, but I've already got it broke loose. That's going to twist right off. Now here is the adapter that I showed you that came in the bag. And if you look here, you've got that wrench flat right here and here. You've got your female threads on this side that are going to go on the barrel. And then on this end, you have your 1/2x28 threads to attach your suppressor or any other muzzle device you want to put on. And here's what it looks like attached to the barrel. Now, one thing you're going to want to keep in mind, if you do have this adapter on here, you are not going to be able to put your slide back on the gun, and vice versa. You are not going to be able to remove the slide for cleaning and maintenance on this gun with the adapter installed. So you are going to have to take this off after you run it suppressed, or if you decide to put a comp or something on here from, say, tandem cross, you will have to remove all of that in order to take the slide off. Now, putting this back together is super simple. If you look here, this is recessed for your barrel, so you're going to have this end up You're going to slide this right in between your barrel and your frame. It will push back and lock up right there. You're going to take your slide, keep it on an angle like that. You're going to pull it back, drop it down, and let it go forward. Now, what you're going to have to do after you do that is be easy, pull it back, lock up your slide stop, flip your lever, and you are good to go. One other thing I want to mention real quick, you are going to take your wrench to tighten up your adapter for your suppressor, but you are going to have to lock the slide to the rear to get access to the wrench flats. All right, now we're going to move down to the accessory rail, and we've got a really nice 4-slot 1913 rail out here on the front of the gun. So running any full-size lights, or compact lights for that matter, is not going to be an issue. Now we move back behind the rail, and as you can see here on the frame, this is all very smooth polymer. I would have really liked to seen them put some texture up here, but they did not do that on the M&P 22 Magnum, and I highly doubt the 5.7x28 has it either. But once you get down here to the grip, you've got some really nice grip texture. Now I am a big fan of the texture they use on the M&Ps. It's not the most aggressive texture, but it works really well. And one thing that I really like that they did with this texture is they've put this all the way around. You have it here on the back of the grip, and you have that same texture all the way across the front. And to me, it just feels really good. This is one of my favorite textures when it comes to handguns. Now we move back up here and we have our magazine release, and we've got some really nice texture right here. And being that this gun is fully ambi, you can reverse the magazine release. I've already done it to the 22 Magnum, so I will be doing it to this as well before we take it out to the range. Now we move forward to the trigger guard. We've got a really nice undercut here. This is really comfortable. I'm not getting pinched here on my finger. They did a really nice job on this. But one con to this, the trigger guard on this is quite small, and this gun is going to be probably pretty hard to run with gloves on. And they did not put any texture here on the front of the trigger guard. I don't care about that, but some people with that weird grip, they do like having that texture there. Now we're going to come back to the trigger on this after we talk about the magazines. So this does come with two 20-round magazines. Now these mags are all polymer. You've got a nice extended base plate here. It kind of looks like they have a little texture here on the base plates, but it is kind of smooth. You do have a recess right here on both sides to grab the mag and strip it out of the gun if you have to. And these do have a load assist right here. So these magazines should load pretty easy. And we will find out in the next video. And one other really cool feature about these magazines, they drop out nice and free. Now I went ahead and installed a few snap caps, so let's dive right into the trigger on this. So let's go ahead and chamber a snap cap. Now this has that very familiar, kind of flat M&P trigger. You do have a trigger safety or dingus, whatever you want to call it. So let's see what our take-up's like. Very little take up. It's really smooth. Not really feeling any grit or anything like that. Okay, that's pretty nice. Nice clean break. Really no creep there. Let's go ahead and cycle one out. Let's see what the reset's like. Wow. Very short, tactile and audible, and a nice clean break. There's really no creep there. It's actually a pretty good trigger for an M&P. All right, let's go ahead and chamber another one, and let's get a trigger pull weight on this. So I've got the Wheeler trigger pull scale here. I'm gonna go ahead and zero this out. Try to get a pull on this. All right, that's not too bad at all. Got a 4.5 pound break on that trigger. It's actually a pretty good trigger for an M&P. All right, now I want to talk about the Optic mounting system. Now this is just like the M&P 22 Magnum. When you remove the cover plate, a lot of your internal slide components are exposed. And that's what this piece of plastic is for that came with the thread adapter. Now I personally did not use that on my M&P 22 Magnum, but if you are looking at this, you're probably already noticing, well, an Optic's not going to fit right here. And you would be correct, because we have to remove the rear sight. And in order to remove that rear sight, if you look down in here, there is a screw that you are going to have to take out. I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I got the rear sight off, and that's what it's going to look like once you get everything off, ready for an Optic to be mounted. And there's your sight and the screw that holds it on. Now, it looks like it's got some red Loctite on there, but I don't believe that's red Loctite because it actually came off pretty easy. Now, one other thing I wanted to bring up about this rear sight that I thought was pretty cool, if you choose to not run this with an Optic, you can actually loosen that up and you can move your windage back and forth. So you can adjust your sight a little bit to the left or the right. There, I loosened it up and I've got it pulled all the way to the right side of the slide. So that's actually a pretty cool feature right there. Alright, that was pretty much everything I wanted to cover in the unboxing video, but I did promise you that I'm going to show you what it looks like with the Optic on it and with a couple different suppressors on it. So let me go get that stuff mounted up and I'll bring it back and show you what it looks like. Alright guys, there it is. Got it all set up and ready to go for the first shots video. Now I'm pretty excited about this setup. We've got the new Vector Optics Frenzy MGT on here. This is a fully enclosed emitter red dot, but it has the RMSC footprint and it is multi-reticle. And it's a pretty damn good looking dot. I will have a full review coming out on this fairly soon. And we've got the anechoic pipsqueak on here. This can, I will have a full review coming out on pretty soon. I've been doing a lot of testing with this on a lot of different guns, but this thing is only 3.5 inches long and it only weighs 1.5 ounces. And we're also going to be testing this with the Anechoic 22 rimfire suppressor. So be on the lookout for the first shots video. I think we're going to have quite a bit of fun with this setup. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.